but for me it was unbelievable. I could not get over it, and I still don't understand it. So I've mentioned in previous episodes, recently anyway, that I want to pick up a PS Vita.
Let's go! Yahoo!
What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the Free Trading Game Collection, the series where I look to build a video game collection without spending any money on it. Let's have a very quick update before we move on. So, on screen is the current collection value. This price is based on CEX sale prices. We do most of our business in CEX. Today, however, we won't. We'll be visiting charity shops, and we've got an incredible Vinted pickup to get to. But I base all my prices on CEX, just mainly because we do everything in there. So it's not going to be 100% accurate to what I could get for it, but because we're buying from there, it just makes sense. And that is the total amount of cash that we have left in this series to spend. That is free money, essentially. It's money we've managed to accumulate by flipping the things that we buy. So in this series, what I like to do is go out and buy bundles of games or consoles or whatever it may be, flip part of it on to get the money back, and then whatever's left over I'll take into CEX and get a voucher for, and then we can buy the games that we want. Lately though, what I've been doing is buying the odd thing here or there, flipping it on, and then just adding the profit to the series, and generally just going out and buying the games I want. Sometimes I'll try and buy things I can trade in for a little bit more, and I've got a lot of that coming up in the next few episodes. But today, let's get to a charity shop pickup first. So charity shops around by me are generally quite bad for video games. They either don't have them or they're just FIFA. You know, a few FIFAs on the 360, maybe one or two on the Wii or something, and that's it. They don't really have an awful lot of anything else. The first charity shop I went to had a lot of video games. Unfortunately, they'd priced them very high. My first ever Switch game that I found in a charity shop, it was FIFA, admittedly, but they do actually hold a little bit of value on the Switch. This one was valued at £10, which I think is actually under the price of CEX, but not to the point where I'm thinking that's a good pickup for me. They had a couple of 3DS titles as well, £5 each. They were roughly on par with what CEX charged, and they weren't games that I want, so I left them there. There were other things as well, but again, they were all fairly high in terms of what I could get for them in trade or sell them on, so I just left them. I went in there like the next day, and a lot of it had already gone. The Switch game was still there, kind of hoping that just gets dropped, but at the same time, I'm probably going to miss it. I wouldn't mind having a FIFA on the Switch, to be fair, but anyway. The next charity shop I went to, I saw something that I never see in charity shops: retro games. I saw 2 PS1 games and a Mega Drive game, and I was expecting them to be priced up very, very high, but they weren't. The PS1 games are actually very cheap. Now, again, FIFA and sports are littered at this charity shop when it comes to 360, PS2 and the retro stuff, but I did manage to pick up a couple of things. So there were 2 PlayStation 1 games and a Mega Drive game there. Now, I don't actively collect for the PS1. I will get the odd PS1 game as and when, but I am realistically looking to sell off the entire collection that I have. Not that I have much left anymore, because it's just not a console that I ever really see myself sitting down and playing. That may change in the future, but for right now, I'm not really looking to keep much of anything except maybe Theme Park and possibly Independence Day, 1 or 2 others at best. But they had 2... why is one £1 and the other one 50p? I've just realised that. I don't know why I didn't notice that before. I picked up 2 PlayStation 1 games, the first of which is going to be Formula 1 98. Now, it's a sports racing game. It's not anything to write home about. But the reason I wanted to pick these up was, A, you just don't see PlayStation 1 games in charity shops that often, or at least I don't. I hardly ever see them. And the condition of this is impeccable. It is complete with the manual. There isn't a single scratch on the case. It feels like a new game. Do you know what I mean? You get that feeling, and I'm going to say that a lot more during this video, because the other one is FIFA 99 with big Dennis Bergkamp on the front. That was £1. The Formula 1 was 50p, which I don't really understand. But again, the condition of this is incredible. There is actually a little crack, thinking about it, or seeing it there, just in the corner. But the rest of it you know, these tend to break on the hinges and everything, and CEX don't take them if the hinges are broken. But in general, these are in phenomenal condition with really, really good manuals, no scratches to the discs. I was in shock at how good they were. Brings me on to the next pickup. I paid up for this a little bit, actually. I think it's probably around what it goes for. It is the original FIFA on the Mega Drive, FIFA International Soccer. I think, and I say I think, I know somewhere in this house I have this already. And it's my original copy back from 1993, 94 when this originally came out. This, though, the condition is unreal. So this is an insane little story, I guess, which a lot of you may not care about, but for me it was unbelievable. I could not get over it, and I still don't understand it. So I've mentioned in previous episodes, recently anyway, that I want to pick up a PS Vita. I'm not willing to pay the price that CEX have slapped on it. So they want like £100, £110 for an out-of-box Vita, which I think is very high. I mean, I say very high. To be fair, if you go on eBay and you look to pick one up, it's going to cost you around 80 quid minimum to get one, and then you need to hope that it's working, because they are notorious for having faults with them. The analog sticks can go, the triggers can go, the charge ports, maybe it doesn't read discs, the screen can be cracked or whatever. You do run the risk, so that when you pay a little bit more through CEX, of course you are paying for the security of knowing that you can take it back because you have that warranty. And that's generally the case with most things in CEX. That's why the prices are slightly higher, etc. However, I was sat down minding my own business, and I had a little message from someone on Twitter. We're going to call him Chris. And he said, hey, I've got a PS2. That information is wrong. I'm getting two Chris's confused. One offered me a PS2 Slim before he traded it. This Chris, however, offered me a white PS Vita for £70 that he had lying around that he wasn't interested in anymore. It was a very good offer. I had to politely decline, though, because I'm not a massive fan of giving my address out. I thought that was that, and it was done and dusted. It was a nice exchange, and that was the end of it. But a few hours later, he messages me and says, I've just seen something on Vinted that you may be interested in. It was a PS Vita, and it was cheap. It was, I think, 50 quid that he had it up there for, but it had issues. The left trigger or bumper, whatever you want to call it, wasn't responsive, didn't work. However, it was boxed, and I didn't know what to do. I was like, should I be buying this? Because at the end of the day, if it's broken, I'm not the best when it comes to opening things up and fixing them. I've broken many an Xbox controller over the years, and I've tried to open them and fix them, and it's just not my thing. I don't know what I'm looking at, and I give up. And it's the same with that Xbox 360. I know all I need to do is open it, realign the disc tray, and it will be fine. And I've had it for a while, and I still haven't done it. So I thought, look, I'll shoot an offer of what I'm happy to pay. I shot him an offer of 35 quid. This isn't the subscriber, by the way. This is, obviously, he let me know. Chris let me know about this deal on Vinted. It had been up there a little while. I shot him an offer of 35 with postage and the little fee that Vinted add on. It would have come to about 40, 41, I think. And I thought, look, I can take that hit. 40 quid, which is what we're going to call it. I could sell the PS Vita box and get back 10, 20 quid. Believe it or not, someone would pay that for that item. And then the console itself, broken Vitas, depending on the fault, can go for as much as 60 quid on eBay. So I thought, well, look, someone will give me 30 for this, minimum. Someone will give me 10, 15, 20 even for the box. And it did even mention that it came with an out-of-box game. And I could probably get maybe 5, 10 for that. My money is safe if he accepts. And to my surprise, he accepted. And a few days later, we have a boxed PS Vita. This is the original 1000 model, OLED screen and everything. I was a little bit skeptical that this either wouldn't turn up, or it would turn up with more issues than was stated on the listing. So I opened the box, and to my surprise, the Vita is actually in pretty good condition. So let me just open this here. The charger is over there, I think, but it's not a wall charger. It's literally just a USB to the PS Vita connector. I don't know what the connector is. It's some sort of weird PS Vita only connection, but there it is. The condition of it, like I said, was actually pretty good. There are some scratches on the back of it, which is fine. It's a really glossy material, so you'd expect there to be scratches and things. But in terms of the screen and the quality of it, let me just turn this on briefly so you can see it's covered in fingerprints. So the screen, as you can see, is working and everything with it is actually fine. So the problem was this button here, which as I tested was broken, completely unresponsive. It wasn't even like you just need to press it hard, it just doesn't work, full stop. We'll get to that. However, looking at the condition of it, I was happy. The game itself that comes with it is actually a pretty decent game. It's not like the cheapest game you can get. It is Need for Speed Most Wanted. Don't know if you can actually read it, if it's going to focus. I do apologise. That out of box though is about a £10 game. I don't like to collect things loose, and especially things this small, but for the sake of testing purposes and whatever it may be, I'm actually just going to keep it. It's a game, until I can get more Vita games anyway, it's a game that's just going to sit in the console and I'll play it as and when. But yeah, came with that. It also came with a 4 gig memory card, official obviously memory card. That's in the bottom, I'm not going to take that out. But the other thing that I was very surprised with, it comes with all the literature that you would have got if you'd bought this brand new. So you've got the manuals still sealed. It's got the PlayStation Network, whatever. It also has these AR play cards. Now, I'm going to keep these, I think. Not that I'll ever use them. They sell for about £5, £6, £7 on eBay complete, which they are. But the most surprising thing about this, and this isn't anything massive, but it's something that wasn't listed and I was a little bit surprised by. I took them out just to see, you know, if they were all there and what they were all about, because I didn't really know anything about them. And then in the bottom of this was another 4 gig PlayStation Vita memory card. So we have one 4 gig and another 4 gig already in the console. So it's a shame we can't combine them and make 8. People were telling me how expensive these memory cards can be, and when I looked them up, if you want a nice size memory card, yeah, they are going to cost you a lot of money, although there are ways around that. But that was nice to find. I mean, it's only like £5 or whatever extra, but then these AR cards are £5 extra as well. So if I really want to, I could sell these for £10, and then this has only cost me 30. I'm not going to do that. I am going to keep it as complete as I can. And there we are, a boxed PS Vita for £40 all in. I am going to deduct that from the total cash balance together with the £4.50 for those games. But I know what you're thinking. Yeah, you've got a PS Vita for £40, well done, but it doesn't work. So what are you going to do? You're absolutely right. It doesn't work in terms of this button right here. This is the only thing that doesn't work. I decided I would look at some tutorials. How difficult can it possibly be to fix this? Well, turns out it's not a very difficult thing to fix at all. This is one of the easiest consoles to fix. Out of all of the consoles or controllers or anything that you could possibly fix, the Vita is probably one of the most simple. With that being said, I opened it up and I had a little look inside. I was expecting to have to replace the trigger. So when it comes to like a controller, for example, you will probably have to mess around with things like soldering to the board and stuff, which I am not ever going to mess with. I have no idea. So when it comes to this, I was very, very grateful that the only thing that I may have to do would be to buy another trigger and then just clip it in, because it's literally just a ribbon that clips in and you close the clamp, and that's it. But much to my surprise, when I opened this, and I couldn't believe it, I don't understand what has happened here. However, the ribbon that should have been connected to the board to allow the button to work, like the right side, which was connected, the left one wasn't connected. It just wasn't plugged in. It was bent underneath one of the panels. Someone had taken this apart for whatever reason to potentially fix maybe stick drift or something. And when they put it back together, they closed the ribbon underneath one of the boards and didn't hook it back up. Okay, so here's the moment of truth. The accelerator, doing this one-handed is going to be a nightmare, right? So I need to get up to speed, and then we just need to see if it breaks. LB, or the left trigger, is going to be the brake. It was doing nothing before because obviously it wasn't plugged in. Look for the lights. There we go. We have a working left trigger. And now we can reverse as well. So, this Vita, there was literally nothing wrong with it. All they had to do was open it and reconnect the trigger. That is outrageous. I cannot believe it was that simple. I've been very lucky there. I was expecting to have to buy a new trigger, which to be fair would have been like £5, and it would have been very easy to replace. But still, the fact that that's all this needed was a reconnection there. And it's super responsive as well. It's not like I have to hard press, and that's it. Everything else about this is working perfectly. The one thing I will say about it, though, is that it doesn't actually have any of the screws, none whatsoever, that is meant to keep the back on. So the back can quite literally just be pulled off. It doesn't fall off. I've played this a lot since I've got it. But you can pull the back off quite easily, but it doesn't fall off. So it's not really going to bother me. You can actually buy the replacement screws for a couple of quid, which I will probably do at some point. But for right now, it doesn't really bother me that much. So have I really just been playing this for hours and playing Need for Speed? No. I mean, the legality side of this is all up in the air. I don't actually know, but these are very easy to jailbreak. You can do it literally sat there watching a video. It was a 15-minute video. I'll link it below for you. 15-minute video on how to jailbreak it, and I did it without connecting it to the PC or anything. You can do it all on the Vita itself, and now it's jailbroken to the point where I've got a version of Doom running on it. I've got Adrenaline running on it, which is just essentially a PSP emulator, so you can run PSP games, PlayStation 1 games, and I've also got a Mega Drive emulators running on it as well. I've been playing the living death out of Fight Night, Sensible Soccer, and I've been trying a few games for the Mega Drive that I've never played before that I would like to now pick up because I've tried them out. And that is what I think I'm mainly going to use this for, is emulation. I will 100% look to pick up Vita games on this. There are quite a few racing games on the Vita that I would like to pick up. And of course, we've already spoke about it, the emulation on this is fantastic. I really, really enjoy sitting there playing Mega Drive games on this. It's not my preferred way to play them. I would much prefer to play them sat in front of the CRT, playing them as God intended. However, for those games that I don't own yet, or the games that I've never played that I would maybe like to pick up, I can try them out. I could download them, play through them a little bit, see if I like them, and if I do, I will go and buy the fully fledged genuine copy of that game. So let's get into a little bit of an end recap of the whole situation. I'm going to start doing this a little bit more in detail at the end of every episode. So we've added a PS Vita to the collection boxed. I am going to add that to the value of the collection based on CEX's sale price. I could have put it based on what I picked it up for, but the whole collection is based on that. So £140 is what CEX try and sell a boxed PS Vita for. So that's what we're going to do. I've allocated like £2-3 for the Mega Drive and the 2 PS1 games. The PS1 games I may sell in the future at some point, but for now they're just going to remain on the shelf underneath everything else. You'll probably never see them. Someone has asked for a room tour. I will absolutely look to do that very, very soon. Hopefully in the next couple of episodes we'll have just a dedicated room tour. It's nothing special. I'm not going to be one of these really creative people who make it look really good and put RGB lighting everywhere, but it's definitely come on a long way since we started doing this, so I will look to do that very soon. With that being said though, the total collection value is now well over £3,000, and we still have, what, £367 and I think 50p left in the budget to be able to go and buy whatever we want. I've got 2 pretty decent episodes coming up with regards to trade very soon, so look forward to that. And I have another repair job coming up as well. Speaking of repair job, as soon as I finish this, I am going to repair that Xbox 360 that I picked up quite a while ago. and look to sell that on. We've already added the money of that to the total cash profit, so it won't need to be adjusted unless it sells for less or indeed more than what I've valued it at. I'll have to go back and check out what that was, but that's going to do it for today's episode. If you have enjoyed, do me a favour and hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new, of course, and until the next time, goodbye.